Okay, hi friends. This is our class. We are going to discuss Indian Penal Code, certain sections of Indian Penal Code. This is Advocate Mehboob. We are conducting AIB refresher classes for the exam, which is in 2020. So we were just waiting for that. So okay, so we have seen we were looking at the more important sections so far, and what we have seen is that we have seen earlier we had seen exceptions. We had seen exceptions. I think we have seen chapter 4, that is till article 106. So let us look at chapter 5 of abatement. So, what do you mean by abatement? So, the first thing is that in legal knowledge or in legal field, there is a term called legalese. Legalese, like you have Japanese, Chinese, Nepalese, you have legalese. So, basically, legal field has its own language, its own jargon, its own terminology. There are a lot of words which are mainly used in the legal field. So we will see that if you look at the dictionary, you will easily find the meaning. But because they are used in the legal field a lot, we sometimes find it difficult. Let us continue. The word abatement. Abatement can be basic meaning of abatement is prompting someone to do something wrong. Abatement means prompting someone to do something wrong. For very, as a simple example, I can say, let's say I am asking, I am asking, let's say, someone to go and steal something from a third person's house. I am showing the way that, they can enter their house. That can be, uh, that can be one way. And of abatement, I'm planning with them, then I'm prompting them. Let's say someone is having mental issues. You have seen recently about that Sushant Singh case, about that actor doing suicide. Sometimes some people are mentally weak. Okay, it is said that he was having bipolar disorder from some time. So such kind of patients who are having psychological issues, if someone is what do you say, prompting them in a negative way, they will go and what do you say, take some wrong steps. That is quite possible. So if I am prompting someone to do something wrong in that weak mental situation, so they will go ahead and do something wrong. So abatement to suicide is also there. There are many type of things. So this is a very important thing in crime. uh, the important thing is that crime is never a stand-alone object. Everything is connected to crime. There are multiple subjects like criminology, that is penology, victimology. So all these things are there. And what do you mean by criminology? Criminology is the study of law from the perspective of society, how crime should be seen, how crime should be pursued, and things like that, and what effect it has on the society. Secondly, you have penology. Penology is talking about penalty or penal things. That is, if some wrong is done, what is the punishment to be given? We have seen earlier, maybe we have read in theory in our Indian Penal Code books about that reformative system, and some other systems where what is the reason of bringing penal laws. And next is victimology. Victimology is talking mainly about victim and other consequences which are connected with the victim. So basically, every crime has a complete picture. Okay, why someone has done, when someone has done. Okay, was he prompted? Was there a conspiracy? Was it at the spur of the moment, or was it pre-planned? In English, there is a phrase called cold-blooded. Cold-blooded means pre-planned. There is one more phrase, one more word which is very popular, that is called as deliberate. Okay, deliberate also means having deep thoughts and planning to do something. So that will also be seen. In some cases, it is seen that actually someone has killed someone because of their action, but it is found out it is extremely extreme case of accident. Sometimes there was no intention at all, and there are many things like that. They have been let off. The accused persons, the alleged criminals have been let off because of certain reasons. So there is a big perspective. So now one aspect is about the abatement, that is someone has prompted someone, so what should be the punishment for them? Should they be also held liable for the actual crime? So that thing has been actually recognized. So let us go with the abatement. I'll just read the bare act, and I'll try to give a very simple explanation from my side. 107 says abatement of a thing. A person abets the thing doing of a thing who first instigates any person to do that thing, or secondly engages in one or more other persons or persons in any conspiracy for the doing of that thing, if an act or illegal omission takes place in pursuance of that conspiracy in order to the doing of that thing, or thirdly intentionally aids by any act or illegal omission the act of doing of that thing. Okay, so we have three reasons. Number one, instigation. Okay, instigation means I am prompting someone. Okay, I am saying that, oh, this so and so person is bad, go and beat him. That can be there. Or I can say your life is not good, you're not beautiful. This happens. Maybe you have read this in domestic violence cases. The husband says you're not beautiful, or you're not giving me male child. That can also be bad remarks. That can also be one some kind of instigation towards pushing the woman towards some wrong, some dangerous step. So in other ways, sometimes in school you have this bullying. Bullying means some students or some children make fun of other students on basis of race, color. Sometimes they show their domination, things that also go on. So sometimes there is also some instigation to do something wrong. But now we are more concerned with some kind of illegal action. So first thing is about instigating any person. Second, in a simple word, is about conspiracy. So you are joining someone to conspire, to plan something, to do some wrong thing. So you are conspiring with them. Number three, in a simple sense, is about helping in that action. Okay, helping in that action. So these three are considered to be abatement. So now we have explanation being given here. First explanation says a person who by willful misrepresentation or by willful concealment of a material fact which he is bound to disclose voluntarily causes or procures or attempts to cause or procure a thing to be done is said to instigate the doing of that thing. Okay, let us see the illustration. A public officer is authorized by warrant from a court to apprehend Z. B, knowing that fact and also that Z is not, C is not Z, represents to A that C is Z and thereby intentionally causes A to apprehend C. Hereby B abets by instigation the apprehension of C. Okay, in English, there is a word called apprehension. So there are two meanings of apprehension which I can recall. If we had seen in the earlier constitution class, if you remember, we had seen that the word state has three meanings. Number one, it has about a province, about a region. Number two, state is talking about a situation. So we say he was in a state of happiness, he was state of intoxication, things like that. Number three is about the state as in terms of that government as a structure. Okay, one of the main player in that two players role, that is the state and the citizens. So every word has multiple meanings. We need to have good knowledge about words, and so that we can understand what is the context, what is the usage at what place, what does that word actually mean. So here if you see, here apprehension is used. For your kind information, apprehension has two meanings. One meaning is about fear. Okay, I had an apprehension that some wrong thing might happen to some Mr. X. Okay, that is apprehension is fear. One more, apprehension and apprehend comes from catching someone. Okay, catching someone, arresting someone. It is, I think, legal jargon or legal term actually, to apprehend someone, to catch. Apprehension is the catching on someone. So basically in this example illustration, a particular person was supposed to be arrested, but some other person is doing what? He is bringing a third person and saying that the third person is the first person. Okay, so here they have used alphabets to describe each person. A is a public officer. Okay, he is having a warrant. Then Z is to be actually arrested, but C is being pushed and C is being arrested. So what happens here? it is wrongful, apprehension of C, or wrongful arrest of C. So the word also is being used here is apprehend. If you see here at Z, apprehend. So this is considered to be, uh, you know, wrongful act. Explanation two, whether either prior to or at the time of the commission of act does anything in order to facilitate the commission of that act and thereby facilitates the commission thereof, is said to aid the doing of that act. Whoever either prior to or a time of commission of act does anything in order to facilitate the commission of that act and thereby facilitates the commission thereof, is said to aid the doing of that act. Okay, so basically there are multiple stages of crime, friends. So first stage is about the planning stage. So second stage is about the execution stage. Third stage is about the arrest stage. Fourth stage is about the punishment stage. So planning, execution, arrest, and punishment. On a broader, basis, we can say that some people do planning, but they cannot do execution. Some people do planning and execution. Some people do planning, execution, and they get arrested. Some people do planning, they do execution, they get arrested, but the punishment is not given immediately. Sometimes the case goes on for like 10 to 20 years. They are contesting that, some murder case, or some big heinous criminal case. So the point is that in law there is a concept called mens rea and actus rea. Just give me a moment. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, planning, execution, then what is there next?
Arrest,
Very good.
punishment.
Arrest and punishment. So these are the broader, simple ways where we can say, this thing is happening. Next is about the mens rea. And next thing is called as actus reus. Okay, mens rea is basically it's called as guilty mind. Actus reus is wrongful act. So basically these are overlapping things, but if you look at the first and second thing, planning can be said to be one stage, or we can say intention can also be there. Let me make it very simple. So uh, okay, we can add one thing also here, sorry. Intention can also be there. First there is intention, then there is planning. At this planning stage also, what happens is some people do planning with other persons. Arey yaar, I'm sorry. IPC desktop. Okay. Okay, sorry. So at the planning stage also, some people will discuss that they are going to do something wrong. So that is said to be conspiracy. Okay. In that, I'm trying to say that even if you not do that crime, even if that execution is not done right, that will be considered as a crime. There are certain offenses wherein just planning, that is conspiring to do that, may be considered as a crime. And important aspects are mens rea. Mens rea is having a guilty mind, and actus reus is the wrongful act. So for many crimes, there is a reason that mens rea should be there. Okay. So basically, someone has done some wrong act. Okay, there is a very popular case. Maybe you have seen that Nanavati case. So in that, what happened is basically there is a man and a woman, wife and husband. The wife is having an affair with what do you say, another man. And when the husband gets to know about this, he goes to the place of that other man, and he there is a discussion, there is a fight, and he shoots the other person. So Nanavati case is about a 50, 60-year-old case, which is very popular. Ram Jethmalani, the famous lawyer of India, was involved in that. It is a very popular case. In this, the contest was about mens rea, whether he had a guilty mind or not. So how is a guilty mind proved is that number one, you have to show that the person has deliberated on it. He has planned on it. Okay, he has planned on it. How can we show? You can say that a particular person is going from A place to B place. He has taken his gun. He has exactly went to the other person's house. Okay, he has shot the bullets and the list of things. So, like, if you're going on the road, many times we have these fights on the road. This is very normal in India, I would say. We touch each other's vehicles, and we get angry, we get down from vehicles, and sometimes some people abuse each other, sometimes there is fight, and actually these are total strangers. They are nothing. They have no connection with each other. The point I want to raise here is in this kind of case is that this is a very spontaneous reaction between the persons who are fighting. In the previous example which I said, that if one person is taking gun from his house, is going to some other person's house and shooting it, then that can be said that is planned, that is deliberate. He has taken the gun and he has went to the other person's house, and in that third stage, if he's while discussing, he's taking out the gun and shooting, then we might by naturally assume that he has killed that other person by a deliberation, okay, by planning. So there we can show mens rea. What is mens rea? I'm just trying to say in very very simple terms that when there is some wrong action there and there is a lack of mens rea, at that time those same punishments will be given, I'm sorry, those offenses will be given very less punishment. That is one thing. But so for certain crimes there is no need to show mens rea. For example, rape. No person can say before the courts of law that, oh, I did not have the intention to rape her, but I raped her, or him or her, whatever it be. So the point is, in certain this offenses, the intention, the planning, or the mens rea is not at all considered. If that crime has occurred, if that offense has been done, that means the punishment has to be given. So these are some basic aspects. I was just getting these thoughts. I wanted to share it with you. Now let me go to the abatement again. Okay. Okay, we have seen what is abatement. Abatement is of three types. Number one, to prompt someone, that is to instigate. Number two is about conspiracy. I'm making it as simple as possible. Third thing is about helping in that, aiding. Okay, aiding in that. Aiding means helping in that crime. Next, abater. Abater abets an offense who abets either the commission of an offense or commission of an act which would be an offense if committed by a person capable by law of committing an offense with the same intention or knowledge as that of the abater. Abater. Let me directly take the examples. A instigates B to murder C. B refuses to do so. A is guilty of abetting B to commit murder. A instigates B to murder D. B, in pursuance of the instigation, stabs D. D recovers from the wound. A is guilty of instigating B to commit murder. Okay, simply speaking, A, B, C is being given. A is instigating B to go and kill C. So because B is being instigated, A is the person who is doing the offense. So A is the abater here. If murder actually happens, then the charge will obviously will be given as instigating to murder. But here he is also saying that even if murder has been tried and even if the person is saved, okay, he does not die, he or she does not die. The point is that the what do you say? There will be charges of abatement towards murder. Okay, to instigating to commit murder. Let us go to the next one. Okay. Let me look at the explanation. Explanations are very much important. So they are giving some additional information. The Bail Act is the a bare information. Let us go to explanation. The abatement of illegal omission of an act may amount to an offense, although the abater may not himself be bound to do that act. Okay. Okay. So I understand from this is that let's say there is A, B, and C. A is telling B that they will go and do something, and B is doing that. Even if it is found that A has not done that act, he himself has not done that act, then he has done abatement actually. That is one explanation. Explanation two: to constitute offense of abatement, it is not necessary that the act abated should be committed, or that the effect requisite to constitute the offense should be caused. Basically, only if abatement happens, that is, you are instigating someone, that is enough. If the crime happens or not, it is not necessary, it is being said. Explanation 3. It is not necessary that a person abated should be capable by law of committing an offense, or that he should have the same guilty intention or knowledge as that of the abater, or any guilty intention or knowledge. So basically, uh, the point being said here is that uh, sometimes it is, I think it is going to give illustrations are specific examples. I believe he is referring to children or someone who is innocent or someone who is not sane or not of sound mind. I am assuming that. So let us see. Basically the point is, whatever be the condition of the person on which abatement is done or instigation is done, the person the person who is being prompted or instigated must be having whatever having any kind of mind, not necessary that the other person is also guilty. Okay, Mr. Siddiqui is here. Welcome, Mr. Siddiqui. So let us go with the examples, illustration. A with a guilty intention abets a child or lunatic. I was just assuming this thing, to commit an act which would be an offense if committed by a person capable by law of committing an offense and having the same intention as whether the act be committed or not, is guilty. Okay, basically the person on uh, uh, okay, one second. Huh. So basically, there are two persons. There is a child and there is a lunatic. Lunatic is someone who is a mental patient. This is popularly mental patient, but in legal terms we call them as insane persons or a person with unsound mind. Okay, even if they are like that, then if you are instigating, then you will be accused. You will be accused or you will be held liable for abetting that offense for which you are abetting them. Next, A with intention of murdering Z instigates B, a child under 7 years of age, to do an act which causes Z's death. B, in consequence of abatement, does the act in absence of A and thereby causes Z's death. Here, though B was not capable of, by law, of committing an offense, A is liable to be punished in the same way as if B had been capable of committing offense and had committed murder, and therefore subject to punishment. Okay, basically, what we always do is, as human beings, uh, we try to look for, exit doors. Okay, whenever we are stuck, we try to look for exit doors. In Hindi, they say chor darwaze. So what do you mean by that? Basically, some person might say that, we had seen earlier, if you remember, in Indian Penal Code, if anyone is less than 7 years of age, that is, he is actually a child and an innocent. So any crime done by him will not be considered as a crime, even it is a murder. Sometimes the small children can take gun and go and shoot someone, and that might result in someone's murder. The point is, if a particular person, that is an adult, he's having bad intentions, he is instigating a child to do something wrong. What happens if that child, that is, who is less than 7 years old, is doing that offense? So at that time what happens is, okay, at that time what happens is that the child will not be punished. The child will not be punished of any offense, even if it is murder. Why? Because the child is less than 7 years old. At that time, this kind of what do you say, secret doors or chor darwaza will be brought before the court. That is. Let me give the specific example. An original abater, okay, the person who has abated, who has instigated, he will say, Your Honor, the actual child who has done the crime, he is not punished. Why should I be punished, right? But the law says, now the illustration is actually saying here that even if the child is not punished, then the original abater, instigator, will be punished. C. A instigates B to set fire to a dwelling place. B, in consequence of unsoundness of his mind. Okay, I am highlighting unsoundness. Being incapable of knowing the nature of the act that is doing what is wrong or contrary to law, sets fire to the house in consequence of A's instigation. B has committed no offense, but he is guilty of abetting offense of setting fire to a dwelling house and is liable to the punishment provided for that offense. So basically, this example is very similar. That if the any person, okay, if any person is of unsound mind, he is insane, and some other person is instigating him to do something wrong, the original person who instigated will be held liable. The person who has done crime will not be held liable. One example of setting a fire to a dwelling house is given. Let's go to D. A, intending to cause a theft to be committed, instigates B to take property belonging to Z out of Z's possession. A induces B to believe that the property belongs to A. B takes the property out of Z's possession in good faith, believing it to be A's property. B, acting under this misconception, does not take dishonestly, therefore does not commit theft. But A is guilty of abetting theft and is liable to be punished as if B had committed theft. Okay, very good example. In this example, neither the person is a child, nor the person who is doing that wrong is an insane person. So he or she is an adult. So basically, what you are doing is you are telling someone lies that that some particular property is your own or it belongs to you, and you want the other person to go and pick. For example, if I am asking a particular friend of mine to go and take this car from certain place and giving a key, the friend might bring that car, but that car actually may not be belonging to me. So in that things like I am doing something wrong there. So the person who has brought the car has not done that wrong because he's doing under misconception. One word is given, misconception. Let's see the next thing. The abatement. Okay, the abatement of an offense being an offense, the abatement of such an abatement is also an offense. Okay, amazing things to see. So, abatement of an offense is an offense. The abatement of such an abatement is an offense. Okay, let me make it simple. Let's say the example is already given. Let us take the example. A instigates B to instigate C to murder Z. B accordingly instigates C to murder Z, and C commits that offense in consequence of B's instigation. B is liable to be punished for his offense with punishment for murder, and A instigated B. A is also liable to the same punishment. Okay, very simple. Let's take ABCD. A is telling B to do something wrong. B is doing something. B is telling C to do something wrong. C is going and killing D. Let's say D instead of Z. Let's say D here. Okay, so that sequence is very alphabetical and sequential and easy to remember. So the point is that A should instigate B that the target is D. It should not be something else. So there is a chain here. So finally it is found out that A is also liable to be punished. As C has murdered D, C will be liable. Here B will be also liable because B has instigated C, and now A will also be prosecuted for same crime of murder because A has told B to instigate C. So this is a chain. Next one is explanation 5. It is not necessary that commission of offense by commission of the offense of abatement by conspiracy that abater should consult the offense with the person who commits it. It is sufficient if he engages in the conspiracy in pursuance of which the offense is committed. Okay. Again, I think something is being should consult the offense. I'm just highlighting it here. Basically, the point is that it is not necessary that that crime has to be done with the abater also. Only if you're doing conspiracy, it is enough. It is being said. Okay, one example: A consults with B a plan for poisoning Z. It is agreed that A shall administer the poison. B then explains the plan to C, mentioning that a third person is to administer the poison, but without mentioning A's name. C agrees to procure the poison and procures and delivers it to B for purpose of being used in a manner explained. A administers the poison. Z dies in consequence. Here A and C have not conspired together, yet C has been engaged in the conspiracy in murder in pursuance of which Z has been murdered. C has therefore committed the offense defined in this section and liable to the punishment for murder. Okay, simply speaking, sometimes the chain is not exactly there. For example, A is saying telling B, B is telling C. Okay, but A is not directly saying C that they have to go and do this thing, do some wrong. But originally, what do you say? A is the person who is instigating, so A will be held liable, and C will also be held liable. Let's go to the next one. Uh, so okay, abatement in India of offences outside of India. A person abets an offence within the meaning of this code who in India abets the commission of any act without and beyond India which would constitute an offence if committed in India. Illustration: A in India instigates B, a foreigner in Goa, to commit a murder in Goa. A is guilty of abetting murder. Okay. Okay, basically it's talking about a person abets an offence within meaning of this code who in India abets the commission of any act. So, if you look at the simple illustrations, a particular person in India is instigating even a foreigner to commit a wrong in India. So, Goa is a part of India. So, A is guilty of what do you say, abetting that particular wrong. 109, punishment of abatement if act abated is committed in consequences where no express provision is made for its punishment. Okay. Whoever abets any offence shall, if the act abated is committed in consequence of the abatement and no express provision is made by this code for the punishment of such abatement, be punished with the punishment provided for the offence. Okay. Explanation: an act and offence is said to be committed in consequence of abatement when it is committed in consequence of the instigation or in pursuance of the conspiracy or with the aid. Okay. Basically, yeah, the main point is that we had discussed this earlier. There are some general laws and there are some specific laws. Okay, Indian Penal Code is a general penal provision, penal statute talking about the general crimes which happen in India. On the other side, we had discussed some special acts like UAPA was there, right? And uh, I think there is something, NDPS, if you remember, narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances, NDPS. Please search for that. Okay, a word drug is very normal thing. Medical shop or pharmacies sell a lot of drugs. But in popular culture, we said someone is addicted to some drugs that is being referred to narcotics. So popularly, so basically the point is that NDPS is an act working on that. It's talking about the regulation and the punishments for crimes relating to that. So please search for NDPS. So NDPS is there. Some other special laws are there. The point being said here 109 in 109 section is that if the abatement of certain crime is not being mentioned, then the particular crimes, what do you say, abatement of that particular crime will be equal to that actual crime. Let us see this illustration. A offers a bribe to B, a public servant, as a reward for showing A some favor in the exercise of B's official functions. B accepts the bribe. A has abetted the offense defined in section 161. Okay, so 161 is, I think, coming in the, in the other, sections. So I believe it's talking about bribery, section 161. So basically, someone prompting someone else to do something wrong is abetting the other person to do that wrong. So for certain crimes, we have the information in Indian Penal Code. For some which are not in Indian Penal Code, I believe, I understand that they are to be construed as if there has been some abatement rule already in place. I hope you guys are following what I'm saying. Please give me some feedback.
Yes. Hello. Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes, Rahim sir. Your voice is breaking.
Hello?
Yes. Are you following?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Siddiqui, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Are you following?
Yes, I'm following.
Very good. Okay, let me move forward and let me go to, okay, 110. Punishment of abatement if person abated does act with different intention from that of abater. Whoever abates the commission of an offence shall, if the person abated does the act with a different intention or knowledge from that of the abater, be punished with the punishment provided for the offence which would have been committed if the act had been done with the intention or knowledge of the abater with no other. Basically, if you know, a particular person is abating someone, and that particular person is actually working under different intention, so they will be punished according to the intention is being said. Whoever abates the commission of an offense, if the person abated does the act with a different intention from that of the abater, we will be punished with the punishment provided for the offense which would have been committed if the act had been done with the intention or knowledge. Let's say A and B are there, and A is instigating B to do something wrong. So you know if the abatement is there, then it would be what do you say, uh, they will be punished. Mr. A will be punished as if if the act has been committed with that intention or knowledge of the abater, and uh, no one else, and with no other, it's being said. Let's move on to the next one. 111. Liability of abater when one act abated and different act done. Okay, very good. This is a very funny thing where A is telling B to do something, but B is doing something else. When an act is abated and a different act is done, the abater is liable for the act done in the same manner and to the same extent as if he had directly abated it, provided that the act done was a probable consequence of the abatement and was committed under influence of the instigation or with aid or in pursuance of the conspiracy which constituted the abatement. Okay, let us see some specific examples. A instigates a child to put poison onto the food of Z and gives him poison for that purpose. The child, in consequence, by mistake puts the poison in the food of Y, which is by side of that of Z. Here, if Z was acting under influence of A's instigation, the act was done under the circumstances, and the probable consequence, A is liable in the same manner if as instigated. Okay, very simple example. A is there. Okay, let us take a child. Child is B, and what do you call? Uh, there are two persons, Z and Y. There are two persons, Z and Y. So what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? Basically, according to this section 111, A is telling the child, that is B, that go and mix the poison in some Mr. Z's food. Instead of Z, the poison is put in the Y's food. So is this wrong or not? The answer is, the original conspiracy, the original abatement was to kill Z, but instead Y is killed. The result is that some big offense has been happened, and it has happened on Y. Even if it happens instead of Z onto Y, actually Y is killed because of the wrong mixing of poison, then still A is held liable. Very good example. A instigates B to burn Z's house. B sets fire to the house and at the same time commits theft of property there. A, though guilty of abetting burning of house, is not guilty of abetting the theft, for the theft of the distinct act and not a probable consequence. Simply speaking, A is instigating B to go and burn the house. Instead of burning, B is stealing something. He is committing theft of property. So two different crimes are there. Okay, I am highlighting burn Z's house, Okay, this was originally said, to set fire, but he is actually doing committing theft. Okay, so he's doing theft. So that's the reason that this is not considered to be uh, an abatement actually. A will be not held liable for that. Next, A instigates B and C to break into an inhabited house at midnight for the purpose of robbery and provides them with arms for that. B and C break into the house and being resisted by Z, one of the inmates, murder Z. Here, if the murder was the probable consequence of abatement, A is liable to be punished provided for murder. Basically, robbery is being planned. What do you mean by robbery? Robbery means going to some place and taking away the valuables from that place. Okay, so making something empty is called as robbing. So robbery is also like in law it is defined in Indian Penal Code. I believe certain persons together they go and do this robbery. Here, the point is that if originally some persons were instigated to do the robbery, and while doing that, they are doing the murder. If it's found out that the murder was done in consequence of that planning, then A will be held liable even for the murder also, for the robbery and for the murder also. Abettor, when liable to cumulative punishment for act abated and for act done. If the act for which abettor is liable under last preceding section is committed in addition to the act abated and constitute a distinct offence, the abettor is liable to punishment for each of the offence. Okay. Uh, Very simple example. A instigates B to resist by force a distress made by a public servant. B in consequence resists that distress. In offering the resistance, B voluntarily causes grievous hurt to officer executing the distress, as B has committed both the offence of resisting the distress and the offence of voluntarily causing grievous hurt. B is liable to be punished for both these offences, and if A knew that B was likely voluntarily to cause grievous hurt in resisting distress. Okay, I am not understanding what is the word distress is being used here. Let me create an example what I understood so far. Basically, let us say there is A, B, and C. A and B and C. A is telling B that he should go and he should beat C. Okay, A is telling B that they should go and beat C. Later on, what happens? A and B reach C's house, and while B is beating C, A is also beating C, right? Okay, let's say the both persons A and B are doing the same action, but originally B has no connection with C, but A told B that go and beat C. So what happens now? The thing is that this will lead to double punishment. He is saying, or the IPC section 112 is saying it will lead to double punishment. First punishment is for what? For abating the other person to do that beating, right? And number two, A himself is beating C. Let's go to section 113. Okay, let's go to section 113, and what is 113? 113 is talking for 113 is talking about liability of abettor for an effect caused by the act abated different from that intended by the abettor. When an act is abated with the intention on the part of the abettor of causing a particular effect, and an act for which the abettor is liable in consequence of the abatement causes a different effect from that intended by the abettor, the abettor is liable for the effect caused in the same manner to the same extent as if he had abated the act with the intention of causing that effect, provided he knew that the act abated was likely to cause that effect. Let us see the example. A instigates B to cause grievous hurt to Z or Z. Okay. B in consequence causes grievous hurt to Z. Z dies in consequence. Here, if A knew that the grievous hurt abated was likely to cause death, A is liable to be punished with the punishment provided for murder. Okay. I think I was also thinking of creating an example on the same lines. Basically, A is there, B is there, Z is there. So here, what's happening is A is instigating B to go and grievously hurt. Grievously hurt is hurting very badly. So there is simple hurt and there is grievous hurt in our legal field. So what happens is that basically, uh, if originally the plan is to grievously hurt, okay, to beat very very hard, then what happens? But unfortunately, the person Z dies. But if it is found out that because of such beating there is a consequence that the other person dies, then A will be held liable for the intention to murder Z also. Abettor present when offense is committed. Whenever any person who is absent would be liable to be punished as an abettor is present when the act or offense for which he would be punishable in consequence of abatement is committed, he shall be deemed to have committed such an act or offense. Whenever any person who is absent would be liable to be punished as an abettor is present when the act for punishable okay. So basically, if the abettor is present where the offense is committed, then again, in this case also he will be punished. 115 says abatement of offense punishable with death or imprisonment for life if offense not committed. The point is, okay, the section says whoever abet the commission of an offense punishable with death or imprisonment of life shall, if the offense be not committed in consequence of abatement and no express provision is made by this code for punishment of each abatement, be punished with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 7 years and shall also be liable to fine. If act causing harm be done in consequence, and if any act for which abettor is liable in consequence and causes hurt is done, the abettor shall be liable to imprisonment of either for term which may extend to 14 years and shall also be liable to fine. Okay. Okay. Uh, Very good. Let us see this example. I am just coming to the theory. A instigates B to murder Z. The offense is not committed. If B had murdered Z, he would have been subject to punishment of death or imprisonment of life. Therefore, A is liable to imprisonment for a term which may extend to 7 years and also to a fine. And if any hurt be done to Z in consequence of the abatement, he will be liable to imprisonment for a term which may extend to 14 years and to fine. Okay. Basic thing, guys, if you remember, let me go to the uh, you know, I'm highlighting these things. Please look at this. I'm highlighting planning and execution. The point is section 113. Let me see, section 115. Section 115 is saying even if planning is done, okay, some planning is done, but the execution is not done. But the execution is not done, then he's saying up to 7 years of jail is there. Up to 7 years jail is there. But if execution is done, in what type of cases? What type of cases? Like, certain case where there is murder or there is, what do you say? The punishment is, let me see. The punishment, okay. So the punishment is death or imprisonment. How do you give death? That is, by hanging usually. So the punishment is death or imprisonment for life. Imprisonment for life means you have to be in jail for long, for the whole life, unless until some pity is shown by the government. The point is, if the crime has not happened, only that that abatement was done, so up to 7 years jail is there. Okay, up to 7 years jail is there, and fine is also there. If I can write here, plus fine. Okay, but in the other way, if we are only talking about the grievous, or grave crimes. The next thing is if the act be done in consequence. So actually it is done. So basically the jail can be up to 14 years and fine. So the answer in that grievous crime is up to 14 years plus fine. So this is the punishment. So let us now, I think the next one will be talking about just the smaller crimes where there is just jail punishment is there, regular punishment. Abatement of offense punishable with imprisonment if offense be not committed. Whoever abets an offense punishable with imprisonment shall, if that offense be not committed in consequence of abatement and no express provision is provided in this code for the punishment of such abatement, be punished with imprisonment of any description provided for that offense for a term which may extend to 1/4 part of the longest term provided for that offense. or with such a fine as is provided for that offense. Okay, basically, other than, like we had seen that, big crimes, that is for such big crimes where the punishment is death sentence or life imprisonment. The point is being said here is that if it is some regular crime, the punishment for abatement, if the offense is not happening, for example, let me take example. A is telling B to do something, but B has not actually done that. Okay, but the abatement was proven. The abatement for proven. So what can we do here? Here, one-fourth part of the longest term will be the punishment for that offense. Let us make it simple. Let us make it simple. Number one, let's say there is a crime for which there is a punishment for 8 years. Okay, A is instigating B. Okay, go and do that particular wrong, and B is not doing it. And if it is proved that the offense has actually not happened, okay, that offense has actually not happened, then A can be given 2 years jail. A can be given 2 years jail because it's talking about one-fourth part. Next, if abater or a person abated be a public servant whose duty is to prevent offense, if such person is a public servant, then the abater shall be punishment imprisonment of any description provided of offense for a term which may extend to one half of the longest term for the offense or with such a fine. Okay, let me highlight this word called public servant. So public servants are assumed to be working in the interest of actually law, right? So even if they are being abated or they are the abaters, they are starting it or someone else is doing that, they will be given one half of the longest term. Let's say a particular crime has a punishment for 10 years, right? A crime has a punishment for 10 years. So these persons, one half means what? 1 by 2, that is 5 years. 5 years will be the punishment for the person who is a public servant. Let's go to the next one. Let me see which is the last in this. I think, okay, they're pretty much lot of things. Okay, okay, we have seen 117. I'm sorry, we have seen 116. Let us go to 117. Abetting or commission of offense by public or by more than 10 persons. Whoever abets the commission of an offense by the public generally or by any number of class of people exceeding 10 shall be punished with imprisonment of either term for which may extend to 3 years or fine with both. A affixes in public place a placard instigating a sect consisting of more than 10 members to meet at a certain time and place for purpose of attacking members of an adverse sect. Okay, while engaged in a procession, A has committed offense defined in section. Okay, there is a word called sect here, guys. Sect means a particular group. Sect means a particular group. So then this word comes here. Section. Section comes from a group. So sect is actually a class, a group. So basically, the point is if some public offense is done, public offense means you are instigating a group of people, more than 10 persons, then the punishment is up to 3 years jail or fine or both. Okay, let's go to the next one, 118. Concealing designed to commit offense, punishable with death or imprisonment for life. Whoever intending to facilitate or knowing it to likely that he will thereby facilitate commission of an offense punishable with death or imprisonment for life. Voluntary conceals by any act of such of encryption or any other information the existence of commit or makes a representation which knows to be false, suspecting of innocent. If offense be committed, is offense be not committed. Shall, if that offense is committed, be punished with imprisonment of either term which may extend up to 7 years. Or if the offense be not committed, with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 3 years, and in either case shall also be liable to fine. Okay, So basically, 118 is talking about there is a plan. Okay, there is a plan which is being concealed. Conceal means to hide. The word conceal means to hide. Basically, someone is planning to do something wrong, and that kind of wrong, that offense is they are facilitating. Okay, they are helping. The word is facilitate, helping the commission of an offense. The punishment such for that offense is death or imprisonment for life, right? So doing this, if the act is committed, okay, the jail can be up to 7 years. If the act is not committed, then it is 3 years. The act is 3 years. Let's go to the next one. Let us see 119. Public servant concealing design to commit offense which it is his duty to prevent. Basically, we had seen in the previous example, public servants are being given more responsibility. So let us see, if a public servant intending to facilitate, knowing it to likely that he will thereby facilitate commission offense which it is duty as a public servant to prevent, voluntary conceals by any act or use of encryption or so and so. If offense is committed, we have to be punished with an offense which may extend to one half of the longest term. Okay? Basically, a public servant is becoming a part of happening of an offense. Okay, if the offense is actually committed, he is concealing, he is hiding that, then that is one half of the longest term. Let's say the jail for that crime is 10 years. So the jail for this public servant can be up to 5 years. If offense be punishable with death. Okay, if offense yani the punishment, the particular offense is so grievous, so harsh that this this punishment will be will be death. So here the punishment for being silent. Okay, I'm highlighting concealing design. Designing means planning. Concealing is to hide. So he's saying that
Okay.
for it. Okay, so basically here the point is that the punishment is up to 10 years. The punishment is up to 10 years. And if the offense actually has not been committed, what do you mean by this? Basically, there is a public officer or a public servant actually. He is knowing of a certain crime and he is hiding it. Okay, and then the crime has actually not happened. So the punishment is 1/4 part of the longest term. Let's say the jail for this is, let's say, 10 years. 1/4 is like 10 by 4 would be like 2.5 years. So that is 2.5 years is the time which the jail will be, jail term will be given. Let's move on. Okay, these are very important. Right now, the next, uh, chapter is very important. Section 120 is talking about concealing design to commit offense punishable with imprisonment. Okay, this is like smaller crimes. Earlier it were big crimes. Whoever facilitates, intending to facilitate or knowing it to be likely that he or she will be thereby facilitate commission of an offense punishable with imprisonment. Voluntary conceals existence of such design, makes an representation which knows to be false respecting such design. Is offense is committed. If offense is committed, the punishment is 1/4. If 10 years is the maximum punishment of that offense, then the punishment is 2.5 years. And if offense is not committed, then it is 1/8. That is 1/8 means like if it's 8 years, originally it's 8 years, then the punishment is of 1 year. Okay, let us go to the next concept. This is chapter 5, a criminal conspiracy. So this has been inserted in 1930, is in saying 1930. 120A is a very popular section, very popular section which is used popularly in a lot of criminal cases. Criminal conspiracy: when two or more persons agree to do or cause to be done an illegal act or an act which is not illegal by illegal means, such an act is designated a criminal conspiracy. Such an agreement is designated a criminal conspiracy, provided that no agreement except an agreement to commit an offense shall amount to a criminal conspiracy unless some act besides the agreement is done by one or more parties to such agreement in pursuance thereof. Explanation: it is immaterial whether the illegal act is the ultimate object of such agreement or is merely incidental to that object. Okay, basically, the point is that if two or more persons are agreeing to do some illegal act, okay, or if even it is conspiracy, they are conspiring to do something wrong, or they are doing uh, such an agreement which is designated a criminal conspiracy, then these persons are said to be doing criminal conspiracy. Okay, let us see. The explanation is saying that if immaterial, it is immaterial whether illegal act is ultimate object of such agreement or is merely incidental to the object. So basically, agreement is important. Okay, such agreements are being highlighted here. If they are what do you say, if they are agreeing to do something wrong, or something wrong is going to come out of that agreement, and it is considered, even that plan is considered to be a criminal conspiracy, then such kind of activity will be considered as an offense. So 120B, punishment for criminal conspiracy: whoever is a party to a criminal conspiracy to commit an offense punishable with death or rigorous imprisonment for a term of 2 years or upwards. Oh, I'm sorry, offense punishable with death, imprisonment for life, or rigorous imprisonment. 1 second, let me see whether this has been substituted for transportation. Acha. Okay, so what are the type of crimes? Death is there, for which punishment, the punishments for different crimes is death is there, imprisonment for life is there, and rigorous imprisonment is also there. For these kind of crimes, for a term of 2 years or upwards, shall, where no express provision is made, be punished with the same manner as if he had abetted such an offense. This is a very, very serious section. Let me also read the subsection 2 and I will just conclude. Whoever is a party to a criminal conspiracy other than criminal conspiracy to commit an offense punishable as aforesaid shall be punished with imprisonment of either description for a term not exceeding 6 months, or with fine or with both. Okay, if you look at the first section here, if you look at the first subsection here, it is saying that whatever be the intensity of the wrong being done, whatever be the intention of wrong being done, the intensity of the crime and the punishment being given. The final thing is punishment. If the punishment is big, then they will be punished. Very more important, I am highlighting it. They will be punished in the same manner as if he had abetted such an offense. Okay, abatement has a certain punishment. Criminal conspiracy has a certain punishment according to the abatement. Okay, so basically, just planning, discussing, some criminal activity will be considered as a conspiracy where 2 or more persons are doing it. There is a new concept. I don't want to confuse you. People are like, I think it's the latest debate in law which I have read recently. Can one person be also, arrested for conspiracy? That kind of questions are coming. There are certain articles, I believe, on that. Maybe you can check out that. I'll just conclude, guys. We have seen chapter 5 and we have seen chapter 5A. We have seen main thing, we had seen abatement and we have seen criminal conspiracy so far. Please give me your inputs, Ms. Kiran and Mr. Siddiqui.
Till now, we understood, sir.
Thank you so much. Mr. Siddiqui. Mr. Siddiqui, can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Very good explanation, Mehboob Saab. वैसे अच्छा clear हो रहे हैं doubts पूरे.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rahim. Mr. Rahim, we are concluding the class. We have seen chapter 5 and chapter 5A of the Indian Penal Code. So, how was the session? Are you understanding?
Yes, sir. Excellent.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. Then I'm stopping it here, sir. Hopefully, we will try to continue in the next classes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you for
Thank you,
joining.
sir.
Thank
Thank
you,
you, sir.
sir.
Thank you so much.